Good Friday evening, everyone. It's the TGIF edition of Weather for Weather Geeks, our daily deep dive into the Valley weather. I'm going to review a few of the subtle changes to the winter forecast again this evening in case you didn't watch last night's video. Now that we're into meteorological winter in the month of December, I thought I'd do a quick update to the forecast. Now, this was our snow forecast we put out about a month ago with the winter forecast. Not really changing any of the numbers here, but I'll tell you, I am leaning towards the lower end of each of these ranges. Now, snowfall forecasts on a seasonal scale are difficult because one storm can mess everything up. If we go with no snow for a month and a half and then there's a 16-inch storm, it could skew the numbers. But, we got to take a stab at it. So generally what we called for was 5 to 10% above average snowfall. Right now, though, because I'm not expecting a whole lot in December, I would lean more towards the 5% more than average. And again, it's more than last year. This is definitely a different winter than last year. One of the reasons why this winter forecast is so difficult, last year we had a really strong raging El Nino in the Pacific, a warming of the waters in the equatorial Pacific. And that, when it's really strong, there's a strong correlation between a strong El Nino or a strong La Nina and what kind of weather we get in the winter. This year we have a very weak La Nina. I mean weak. It's almost neutral. And that makes the predictability of things more difficult on a seasonal scale. There's a lot of variability that can take place. Well, here's what I did with the temperature forecast. Now, if you remember from our original forecast about a month ago, we did have our area in the -1 to -2 category for wintertime temperatures. What I've done is taken us out of that and just calling for us to be within a degree of either side of normal. So we could be one below, one above normal. Somewhere in that range, I think, when the winter shakes out. Now, there's going to be some cold periods like we're going to have in a week, but I think there's going to be mild periods that offset that, and so we're not expecting a huge deviation from average when it all comes out in the wash 3 months from now. Again, the predictability on this, a little more challenging this year because of the lack of a strong signal in the Pacific. All right, I've been talking about this week. It's a cloudy time of the year. Some rough estimates here, climatologically speaking, of the percentage of days each month that are overcast or almost overcast, mostly cloudy, if you will. December, 72%, on par with January. These are our two cloudiest months of the year, December and January, with February not far behind. Notice the big jump that takes place between October and November. October can have we can have long stretches of clear days in October. Actually, we did have that this past October. But then starting in November, we started getting the cloud season here. Partly due to our proximity to the Great Lakes. Great Lakes produce a lot of clouds as we get into the winter. All right, today the wind produced a lot of pretty nasty wind chills. Nothing crazy for early December, but it was unpleasant to be out in that breeze this afternoon with wind chills in the upper 20s to around 30. Now, during the late afternoon, early evening today, we did have some light rain, some sleet pellets trying to mix in, but that's pretty much out of here. Now, could there be a spot of drizzle or a stray snowflake, a flurry or two this evening? Yeah. I think the roads will be generally just fine. Temperatures will remain above freezing for the night tonight. We expect lows around 33, 34, 35 on average. Across the country this evening, no big barn burners, but this is our next item of interest, this system down here, which will eventually start getting more organized and come north and east, and probably will bring us rain by Tuesday. In the meantime, our weekend looks pretty cloudy again. There could be a flurry or a sprinkle tomorrow. It's just going to be another uneventful cloudy day, kind of like yesterday and today. A little bit lower breezes tomorrow, but still a noticeable breeze, especially if you're walking kind of in between buildings in traditionally windier spots. You'll notice it. As we head into the day on Sunday, I think we might start with some filtered sun, but the clouds will win out again. And little disturbance heading our way might try to bring a touch of snow or a mix of rain and snow towards the end of Sunday into Sunday night. Worst case scenario with this, I think someone might get a coating of snow on their car tops and that sort of thing, but not expecting that to be a big deal at all. And then Monday probably starts cloudy, but some of this drier air should try to work in for Monday afternoon. And actually, Monday afternoon will be the best part of the next week, perhaps even the next 10 days. And here's a big reason why. These are not the temperatures, but the wind chills, according to one of our computer models. I think this is the European model. Pardon me. The cold getting set to dive out of Alaska, right down the Rocky Mountain states, into the Plain states, and towards our neck of the woods. And a sampling of the wind chills here by late next week, next Friday, about this time next Friday, wind chills mostly single digits and teens. So if you thought today's wind chills of around 30 were bad, wait until this arrives by next week. Along with the wind chills, we're going to have some lake effect that gets going. I think this could be a lake effect bonanza for a couple of days in the traditional spots: Northeast Ohio, Northwest PA, Southwest New York. This is the European model ensemble mean. In other words, the average of all 51 members of the European model coming up, spitting out an average of, up to probably a foot or even maybe 2 feet. Downwind of Lake Erie in southwest New York, downwind of Lake Ontario in upstate New York. Around Northeast Ohio, Northwest PA, I think we're going to get some accumulating snow here with the lake effect. Now, does your backyard get a half an inch or 6 inches? Well, that'll very much depend on how the band's set up, and we've got a week to figure that out. But I think this is our next best chance of maybe needing to get out the shovels. This will be with the lake effect, with the Arctic air, the end of next week and perhaps into next weekend. I've been talking about this week, that the Arctic air comes, but it probably doesn't stick. This pattern isn't going to suddenly snap into consistently cold, colder than average. Here's the cold air mass next weekend. Here's Saturday. And then by the following work week, by Monday into Tuesday, notice the harsh cold's off the playing field. It's over here. And there's cold building again across the prairies of Canada, but it pretty much stays there. You know, this is a seasonably chilly pattern, it looks like, once we get into the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th of the month, with a lot of the cold bottled up here. So across the lower 48 states, nothing real remarkable showing up in the kind of 10 days to 2 weeks time frame. So we're going to get our cold shot coming up in a week, but that doesn't mean the rest of December is just going to be suddenly just frigid like that every single day. It's not going to lock in like it did at times a couple of winters ago. So we'll see if that's the pattern this winter. Very well may be this winter, where we get the occasional cold shot like we're going to get every winter, but the staying power is very much in question. These things might just kind of come and go, and after a couple of cold days, we just get back to typical winter weather, or maybe above average weather. So that may very well be how the winter shakes out. Hope you have a good weekend, everyone. I'll see you back here on Monday. Check out my forecast tonight, 21 News at 11.